All right, we'll get started.
All right. Yeah, I'll just kick it off then. My name's Andy Witzke. So I've been the leader for the Pac 537 for the last 4 years or so. My my two sons, one's in fifth grade now, one's in seventh. They kind of gone through this pack since first grade. So kind of during the COVID years is a little slow on that, but we're back up and running pretty good here, and maybe a little more about my background. I grew up in northern Minnesota. Um, I was in a Boy Scout troop. I did Cub Scouts for a year or two, and then was in a troop where I made it up to Eagle Scout. So it's kind of cool to get to see my kids follow in that same path here. So the second one's in the troop now for his second year. So um, I'll hand it over to Mike to introduce himself then.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Mike Williams. I've got a son, Evan, who is in third grade, so that makes him a bear this year. And he goes to Plymouth Creek. We moved to the community a little over 2 years ago. We came down from Brooklyn Park, where we had been for, gosh, almost 14 years. Grew up in Madison, Wisconsin. Please don't hold that against me. I do own one share of the Green Bay Packers. Uh, so I do love Wisconsin, but I do call home is Minnesota for me. So um, outside of that, yeah, love the community. I have a daughter that is in fifth grade now, and she is in Girl Scouts. I've tried to convince her to join Cub Scouts. She sees all the cool things we do, but she is just too in love with her friends and the cookies and all the other things they do there. So I think she's going to stay over there. But yeah, thanks for joining today. And yeah, I guess we'll get started. And Andy, I think you've got the next couple of slides.
Sure. Yeah, and I guess if I didn't mention, Mike's he's going to be taking over for me later this year. So fifth grade being the last year in the pack here, it was good to get a new person to kind of co-lead it with me this year as we transition that over to Mike. So um, yeah, and I do apologize for the Packers reference there, but that this is over a Vikings game, so maybe not the best scheduling time, but we'll try to make it brief. There isn't too much here, but we'll just open it up for Q&A when we're done too. Um, so yeah, about our pack. So you probably saw like in the welcome letter some of the info. We're combined with pack, 537, 539 as like kind of one pack operating together. We tried that last year because they had a lot of leaders that were kind of aging out of the pack and needed some help, and we thought, let's just combine forces, and the more the merrier. So that worked out pretty good last year, and we're gonna kind of run with that again this year. We're on paper we're two different packs, but it doesn't really make a difference which one you join. We all, each den is merged together with that grade group, and the overall packs meet together too and do the same things. So we'll see what happens next year with that if we split or just switch to one, but I'm gonna try it again here. So each pack has a sponsor organization or a charter organization. They provide some like facilities. They have a say in some of the like the pack things. They approve adult leaders and such. So 537, we're sponsored by Hamel American Legion now. Used to be Holy Name of Jesus a couple of years ago, but we switched over to that. And then Pack 539 sponsored by St. Barnabas Church, and that's where we meet. We use their space because that works out really well for us all. So, yeah, and as Cub Scouts, it's all kindergarten through fifth graders, boys and girls. I will say, like, very few girls in the pack. Might be one or two the last couple of years on average, but it'd be great if we could bump that up too and just make it even bigger. So. As far as leadership on the pack level, there's some various positions there. We all kind of work together, but like Mike and I are kind of co-leading with the Cub Master and committee chair currently. It'd be good to, kind of assign an actual committee chair to do some things like leadership meetings and stuff. But we also have some members, especially Marcus and Virgil from Pack 539. We have a treasurer from each unit, Andrew Everbeck. We have for ordering awards and handing those out at the meetings. And then we have our fundraiser person, Sarah, and we'll talk about popcorn a little bit, but she's got her hands full right now. So that's pretty much that.
Nice. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, let me talk just briefly about the Cub Scout ranks. So for the folks on the call or watching the video that are new to Cub Scouts, this I remember was kind of confusing for me when I was a new Cub Scout parent of like, which area does my kid land in? So really quick, we'll just go through this. So if you got a kindergartner, those are the Lions. For first graders, they're going to land in Tiger. Wolves are your second graders, Bear, third grade, Weeblos are fourth grade, and then Arrow of Light are fifth grade. There are going to be a number of achievements, and we'll go over that a little bit here in a moment, that they will complete in order to kind of graduate into the next rank up. If they don't complete it, then when they do join or when they do come back next year, they will automatically get bumped up. But we do really encourage, obviously through den meetings, is where they're going to complete a lot of these, achievements. We do really emphasize that they work through those right together. That's kind of the purpose of it, right? So and to have a lot of fun while we're doing it. And so each of these dens and each of these ranks, they are led by a den leader. So as you can see here, we've got a number of folks already, have volunteered their time and are willing to lead these dens. For the lion den, it is a little special. Andy, I don't know, did you want to mention anything about that? The lion den, how it's a little different with rotating parents?
Yeah, and not really, but it just each parent or those Lion Scouts, it's their first year in the program. And they have kind of a simplified version of advancement. It's mostly like workbooks they work through with the coloring sheets and things like that for the kindergartners. But yeah, each year we try to find a parent to kind of at least line up meetings, and then it works kind of well if each one just takes a turn with a meeting. And there's really only like 7 adventures that you need to do throughout the year to get your rank, and then there's a bunch of elective ones that kids can do on their own, or den leaders will sprinkle a few of those in there too. So
Cool. Yeah, and for any of these dens, we also do say that while there is a named person here, if you're at all interested in helping to kind of co-lead any of this stuff, absolutely, we'd love to talk with you and get your information and hopefully get you kind of in here as a leader and connected into this den because I think it's a lot of work, but I think if you do it, kind of as a it can be very manageable. So typically dens meet 1 to 2 times a month. Dens will kind of set up their own day and time when they're going to meet. We'll get into some of those logistics too, especially this week at our first pack meeting. So, all right. And please, if you have any questions, just by all means speak up. All right, so this is a volunteer run organization. Andy and we do not get paid for what we do here. We are here because we love, working with adults and kids and having fun. And for many of the folks that we rattle off and mention, they were either in Scouts at one time in their life or they knew somebody. And so we do it because we love, again, to be part of this program because we really do believe in it. And with that though, as Andy had mentioned, we do have a number of open positions. So if you are somebody who does want to get involved, please reach out to Andy and or your den leader and let them know that there's stuff that's as little as, just helping out with the afternoons and trying to, pick up, after the pack meetings, we'll need help with that. If you've got, any type of particular skill that you'd love to show off at some point to the pack, whether it's woodworking or whatnot, we'd love to hear from you because we're, later this year, we're going to do Pinewood Derbies. So having some skills around build those cars, some of those secrets you may have heard of or used in the past, those are always welcome. So, all right.
definitely. And really, like Mike was kind of getting at, we're all leaders here. And it's really like a family activity. So you're welcome to bring younger siblings along to most of the events. Definitely the pack meetings and stuff. Any friends are welcome to join in too, especially some of those more fun ones. It's a great way to get more people interested in the scouting. And then we do have a monthly like planning meeting that the adult leaders attend, usually a week prior to the PAC meeting, just to make sure we have that all figured out. But that is open to all the parents too, so always looking for more input there. Just good way to figure out how we're gonna kind of divvy up the work between people. So we have a pretty good, system in place with kind of what we've done in years past, and we try to sprinkle in a couple new events each year, but we can definitely find ways for everyone to help out. So another, related to the parents, there's Scouts is big on youth protection. So like you'll see in another slide, I think all the leaders, they have to go through the online training, background checks, stuff like that. We also ask the parents to take the online youth protection. It's just a good kind of thing that everyone should be aware of. So it's free. It's just available on the website. So you'll get a login if you join, and you can check that out. So as far as like actual our meetings, probably curious on how that works. So we typically have like two standing meetings each month. The main one being the PAC meeting where like the whole PAC K through fifth grade attends. That's at St. Barnabas every third Tuesday of the month, 6:30 p.m. And then you'll also have den meetings. So those could vary on the day of the week. Usually a lot of dens meet on a different Tuesday just to kind of keep that cadence like that. But really, once we get rolling after this first PAC meeting, you'll meet with your den leaders and kind of find out what day of the week works best for people and try to get one that works for everyone. So that could be at St. Barnabas, or the meetings could be just random places too. Sometimes we've used like Holy Name or Charter Org, the American Legion has some space, or you might just go to a park. So that's kind of up to each den to figure out how those ones work. And then as a note, usually the parents just stick around and attend the events with the kids. As the kids get, like third, fourth, fifth grade, it's definitely more acceptable. You could drop them off and that, but we just ask that at least another parent knows, or ideally you let me or Mike or your den leader know that you're stepping out while they're there. So and with like the smaller meetings like that, we always ensure there's at least two trained parents or two people that have gone through youth protection training, because we have to maintain that. So then I think is that going back to Mike? Oh no, I'll keep going here. So there's a couple different helpful websites here. So everyone that registered will get a kind of a login invitation to activate your Scoutbook account. So this is where you can go in and update your profile information. And then there's a scouting app that kind of does the same thing. It's a really easy way to kind of mark off advancement. Maybe you do some elective adventures at home, or you miss a den meeting and you want to make it up. You can check off advancement for your own child that way, and then it goes to the den leader to approve. Northernstar.org, that's our council. So they have a lot of helpful resources there. They organize some events throughout the year too, especially like the camping things. We rely on them to run some of the campouts, some of the elective ones where not everyone goes, but they're really fun things to attend, and they're really easy because they're run by the council. So myscouting.org, that's where you can log in with the same login as your like Scoutbook account. That's for your like adult training, and then leaders use that to mark off things for their dens and packs. So, and then finally I'll mention Facebook again, but it's just kind of a way to kind of share pictures. We have a private group, and then we have a more of a recruiting type or advertising page that's public, where we don't put a ton of stuff on there, and we usually kind of limit like what scouts are showing. If there's so we always like to ask, if parents don't want their kids on any public websites, that's something we'll definitely take into account too. So I guess how we communicate, so far it's just going with kind of good old-fashioned email. So it's easiest for the leaders just to send emails out through Scoutbook. It has their own updated contact info in there, so everything official. I'll either, leader will either email that out, or it'll come from Scoutbook. You'll get reminders of events that way too. And like I mentioned, we have a Facebook page. So people can always contact us through there, but that's more of a kind of sharing less important information. And then finally, like, leaders will obviously use text messages, however it helps. So some of the dens might have a text chain going just to help with their organization.
All right. So let's talk about Scoutbook. So Scoutbook is kind of your central place, I would say, outside of the pack meetings themselves or the emails, where you're going to be able to see the calendar of events coming up, right? So the third Tuesday of every month is our pack meeting, and then Dens, they'll be posting in here. We're going to ask Den leaders to post their calendars in here as well. So when they're meeting, where they're meeting, so you can be kept up to date on all of that. This is also where for every um, for every den, you're going to be also the child will be required to do two advancements outside of the den meeting. So, and you're going to be able to mark that off in Scoutbook. And actually, I'll just show you kind of what that looks like really quick. Let me just stop the share. Um, just log into mine here. Here we go. So this is what it looks like. This is Evans. And so when you're in here, once you sign up and you paid your dues and everything, then you'll be able to come in here then and actually go in and say, okay, I've completed such and such. Um, you'll be able to see the calendar so we can see, this is the parent meeting today. I can see that there's, these other events coming up here, the pack meetings here. So this is a great way to, again, keep up to date. And you can subscribe down here. If you scroll down, you can actually subscribe to these calendars and attach it to your Google Calendar so you don't have to come back here for all of these events. So that's a great feature. And then again, when you're in here, you're going to be able to go under and approve current, um, kind of adventures. So these are past ones since we haven't started. Once we start the year up this Tuesday, then I'll be able to go in here and go into his and start approving activities that he's done. So again, you really won't have to do this unless you are actually going to do, you'll have to do this for the two adventures and achievements that you do on your own. And then the den leaders should be updating this as you do your den meetings and that. But you can go in there and see exactly, okay, where are we at? Have we completed enough to move ranks, right? The other thing that I was going to highlight too, let me share the screen, is the adventures themselves. So if you've been out to the scouting shop, the scout shop at all, and taken a look at, whether it's uniforms or other items, you'll find that there is a book there for, oh my gosh, I think it's like $26. It's kind of expensive. It lists off all the materials and all the things you need to do, but I'm going to share a little secret with you that I used last year. You don't need to buy that book if you don't want to. It's kind of nice as kind of a memento maybe, but you really can just go in here and enter any rank. So if your child is going to be in second grade this year and is a wolf, you can go to look at the wolf rank and you can go down and you can see, okay, we have these 5 things we need to do. So running with the pack, I can go in here and I can see, okay, I have to complete these requirements. And I can see all the details of what that looks like. And from here, here's the supply list you'll need. Here are the directions. So it's got basically everything that the book has. So I would give that a look. And I'll put the link actually in the chat here in a second. So you can have that and you can kind of browse through that. And that gives you a good idea of what they're going to be completing this year. So hopefully that's helpful. That was great for me to see last year. So there you go. There's the link to that in the chat. Um, Stop sharing that. Go back to the presentation here quick. Does anybody have any questions about either the scout book, which is where things are going to be tracked, or the adventures area that I just showed you? Hearing none, we'll move on. All right, one sec here. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and I think I kind of covered the Facebook stuff already, so that's just some links that as we share this, you'll be able to find us on Facebook.
So yeah, as I showed a minute ago, you can subscribe to the Pack Calendar. Otherwise, you can copy this link. It's the same link you'll find in the Scout book as well. But yeah, again, this makes it really convenient. I'll say if you just subscribe, and then you don't have to keep going back to that page. We do have a number of special events that happen outside of PAC meetings as well as the den meetings, and so I put the dates up here so you can grab these. And these are also, Andy, I believe we put them in the calendar too, right? So if you
Yep.
subscribe to the calendar, you'll see that as well. But yeah, we've got the rocket launch coming up here on November 2nd. A lot of fun. We usually do those. I think that's in the morning. We usually get like donuts and stuff, and for the parents, and coffee is always a requirement. And
Yep, and we'll provide rocket kits a month out or at our October meeting that the kids can go home and glue them together with the parents. So
then we do a base camp outing when it's super cold outside. It was last year anyway, in January. I think we still have to get a date on that, but it's down at base camp. And if you haven't been to that building, it's quite impressive. It's got an indoor climbing wall. Well, not a wall. I would say it's like a whole area. It's multiple walls that's in like a horseshoe area. It's pretty amazing. And then there's an indoor archery that happens there, and there's a Gaga pit ball. And so there's a bunch of stuff there for the kids. And we do pizzas and all that stuff. Um, and then we have the Pinewood Derby, the famous Pinewood Derby. That's in February, on February 7th. And again, if you haven't seen one of these yourself, it is quite impressive. The track is giant, and last year we streamed it on YouTube. And so, I mean, there were parents all over the country, grandparents watching this thing. So it's pretty amazing. Kids have a great time with that. And then we do have our blue and gold banquet. Andy, do you want to speak to that a little bit?
yeah, in the past, we've typically held this at like Medina Entertainment Center. So we have a catered meal there. And then it's meant to be a celebration of scouting, but the primary thing we do that is we'll be graduating our Aerolite Den to a Scouts PSA troop. So it's kind of an honor them. And then we go through a little ceremony for that. And then there'll be some entertainment. We've had a magician before. Year before that, I think we had some Viking encampment, it was called. So it was like people dressed up as historical Vikings, talking about some things that the Vikings did. It was pretty cool. So TBD on what we bring in for that entertainment, but um, that'll be a good one for everyone to join in. Yeah, and as it says, like our fundraiser, which I'll talk on at the end here coming up, really covers everything we've talked about so far. So there'd probably be a cost. In some cases there is food, like if you bring additional family members to Blue and Gold, but those other items listed there would be free. And some of the things on the next slide with the camp stuff, pretty low cost. So
Yeah, so we do a number of campouts that we organize. So this fall, I'm gonna be organizing one for the Spookery. That's gonna be October 18th and 19th. That's over kind of the MEA weekend. So we know that there are a number of families that do leave, but there's also a number of people that do stick around. So we'll be hosting that here in a little more than a month. Um, and then we do have a winter camp out. That'll be the following month, this winter camp out over at that's over at the Baker Outdoor Learning Center. And then we do have on the calendar our spring camp out. That's in May. So just before the kids get out of school. And then both over the winter, these aren't necessarily we haven't organized these, but that may change this. That may change, but there are two kind of big camps in the winter. Polar Cubs, we did that. Evan and I did that last year. It was a lot of fun. And then the Cub Summer Camp, and there's a number of them throughout the summer that you can participate in. So the nice thing about the summer camps is you can work on your advancements over the summer too. Those camps do qualify. So yeah.
So you'll head start on the upcoming year.
Hmm.
And a lot of those council camps, they'll run for like a whole month. So like our pack will say, hey, we're going over MEA weekend, but you are welcome to sign up on your own, take your family, go whatever weekend works for you. So they're a lot of fun. They're really well organized and run by, actual paid staff of the council there. So I highly recommend them.
When you're on the scouting.org website, if you were able to grab that URL in the chat, you will find in the upper right hand corner there is a link to the Scout Shop, and that's where you can order, or you can go down to base camp down in Fort Snelling. There is a Scout Shop there where you can get uniforms. So we do ask that Scouts wear uniforms. We have an official uniform. It's a little different for each grade. So when you're on the scouting website, you'll see that kind of they have an inventory of stuff, and like we kind of show here the kindergartner's t-shirt, and then there's belt, hat, neckerchief, slide, pants type of thing for the older kids here.
Yeah,
When
we
we're
kind
out,
of kind of let the kindergartners grow into their scout shirts by the
yeah,
second year there. So a t-shirt, maybe you're welcome to get an official uniform at that age. But if you wait till first grade, you'll get a blue shirt that should get you through. Usually in fourth or fifth grade, they switch to a tan shirt, which then they can continue to wear in a Scouts VSA troop if they stay in scouting. So the one, you're looking at maybe two uniforms, but we're not real strict on it. Like the color, if you keep the blue one the whole time or switch over to a tan one earlier, it's not real important. Or even if your really kid just does not want to wear a uniform, but we usually see that they like to kind of match everyone else there. So they aren't real cheap. It's one of the more expensive parts of registering, but it's just a one-time thing or two over the course of a few years anyway. So
hmm. And then for outdoor camp stuff, we were able to get this year, I think, Andy. The if you do register by the end of October, there is a free shirt. They were like these adventure shirts last year. I'm not sure what the design's going to look like this year, but they are giving out free for all the scouts that do register by the end of October, a camp shirt so that we can use, or your child can use when we're outside getting a little bit more messy. So I'm going to kind of blow through the Scout handbooks because touched on that already, and kind of move forward to the dues. And I think Andy, this one's yours.
oh, sure. Yeah, so we kind of talked about most of the events being low cost or free. There is the registration fee. So Northern Star Council charges $210 for 1 year. So that's good from a year from whenever you pay that fee. Um, and you go and do that online at goscouting.org, or if you get into Scoutbook, you can find it there. But that most of the money goes towards like the council and the national organization for insurance and the facilities they maintain here and the programming and that kind of thing. Um, there are definitely scholarships, and Northern Star recommends if anyone wants to apply for one, they won't turn anyone away for inability to pay. So that's definitely an option. Just let Mike or I know if you want to see the link or look on Northern Star's website before you do the registration. You'll get a coupon code. Um, Pack dues. So our pack is, I would say, unique in a way. We don't charge anyone additional to the national registration fee. So basically, because we push popcorn sales, which I'll talk about next, and we do really well with that. And also our charter organization helps us out with some money throughout the year. So we can really get by without charging anything additional to run the pack side of this. So you're really just looking at that 210 and then a couple events throughout the year. Things mainly with like overnights or where meals are served, or there could be a relatively small charge. I think we've charged like $15 to $20 for campouts. PAC subsidizes a lot of these things, so just to bring in a little bit there, because not everyone goes to all those more adventurous events, I'll call them, or the overnights, and yeah, it's just a way to kind of spread the cost out to those who are using it. So, but overall, I'd say it's a great value. You look at everything these days, sports and stuff. The 210 for a year, and if you can participate in some fundraising, you're really not looking at much else out of your pocket. So on that note, since we won't be talking much about this at the PAC meeting on Tuesday, I want to kind of get people to take a look at this in the slides here. I want to give a little crash course on our fundraiser, because it actually starts a week from, well, 5 days from now. So this weekend coming up, popcorn sales, you're able to start selling. And you've probably seen it in years past. Your scouts come to your door, or you see them at Cub Foods or wherever. It's expensive, but it really is a great fundraiser for us. So get a lot of no's, but even the yeses make up for it. So a little different than Cub Scout or Girl Scout cookies, where maybe I don't like, they make a quarter each box or something. We get 73% of the sale of this $20 bag of popcorn, where we share that with the council. So it adds up quick. And there'll be different ways you can sell. So really, we do everything through an awesome app called Trails End. They're the ones that manage the popcorn sales and provide all the app and the popcorn itself. So each scout will activate an account in Trails End. You'll use that app to log any sales you do, whether they're at storefronts, or you can have people actually just ship it right to them, although that gets a little costly, but that's an option for people out of state. And then wagon sales, which you think of typically, you go around neighborhood door to door. We'll actually have, I think we have like $20,000 worth of popcorn coming in this week. You'll be able to check that out from our popcorn colonel or popcorn lead, Sarah. So you can say, I want like 4 bags of each, and then we're just going to walk around and hand it to people as you make the sale. So that makes it easy. You don't have to go back. And then one of the great things about the Trails End app is you can accept credit cards on it. There's no fee to do that. And this year you can actually just open up the app, do a checkout, and tap a card right on your iPhone or newer Android phone. So super easy to collect payment that way. I'm a fan of that. It makes the accounting really easy on our side too, to know who sold what and what we need to order at the end. So there will be, well, yeah, I'll just mention there will be like printouts and sales guides and like menu type things that you'll take from the next PAC meeting. So we'll make sure everyone gets a copy of those items when they come on Tuesday. That'll show all the information about how you sell it and how to get logged into the app and stuff. So, and yeah, I think I kind of mentioned, why do we sell? Well, it's keeps the cost low for everything we do, pays for our storage unit, our pack supplies, the awards, like all the belt clips and pins that the scouts get each month for completing a den meeting. And then our pack entertainment. So for example, on Tuesday, we're having the Works Museum come in. So we'll pay them to run a engineering night, family engineering night. So we'll probably have at least 2 of those throughout the year where we bring in a special guest like that. And then Trails End also, if you sell more on the high end, or if you can, become one of the higher sales, you especially benefit from it. But you get Amazon gift cards there. The council has some random drawings. And then the cool thing we do too is pack incentives. So above and beyond all the stuff Trails End does or the council does, we will have a system where for every like $100 in sales, so really if you sold like 5 bags of popcorn, you'll get a raffle ticket into a drawing, and we'll raffle off a bunch of Amazon gift cards, I think, at the end of the sale here in November. So, and then probably most importantly is we're gonna do a percentage of your sales this year will go into your Scout account. So you'll be able to see in Scout Book, like if you sold, we don't have the exact numbers down yet, but like over $200, $300 worth of product, every sale above that, we're probably going to kick in 10 to 15% of that sale price into your own account. So that could add up pretty quick and cover your year scouting just by getting some of that. So you'd be able to use money in your scout account for anything the PAC charges for. So any of our campouts, And you could put it towards that $210 registration fee. So, any questions on popcorn? I think some of the handouts will probably clarify that. It's a lot to take in, but we'll bring it up a little bit on Tuesday, and hopefully we get everyone set up with that. So yeah, I think we can open it up to any general Q&A if any of you have anything.